Hi, I'm Deacon Ralph Poyo. You know, men today are in the midst of, I'd say, a crisis of identity. A lot of times we don't really understand who we are and what we're called to be. And frankly, I feel like the culture is desperately afraid of men finding their true identity in the strength and honor and glory of God. We were created in God's image, created in the image of Christ. Christ doesn't come off as this power-hungry man who seeks to just put everybody under his thumb, the way the world would seek to define authority today. Really, the world, when you look at their authority, it's wielding power. How do I gain control over other people? Jesus really wasn't about that. Rather, Jesus commanded authority, but the source of that authority was love. The love that he has for humanity, the love that he has for the Father and the Holy Spirit, and this amazing relationship that the Trinity experiences all the time. And so when we look at our masculinity, we're not meant to be these, what I experienced as a kid, as this stoic man of just, raw strength, and I'm just here to blow anyone away who comes in my path. Instead, we're called to command this authority that allows us to love other people and seek the very best for them, where we command authority that protects what's their ultimate future or their immediate future. Because you see, love looks for the very best for the other person. It's not self-seeking and self-gratifying. I'm pretty sure Jesus, in the midst of his mission on earth, didn't feel like gratifying the desires of his flesh by being crucified. I'm pretty sure that was a pretty hard and arduous task. But what was he looking at? Not himself, not his own desires. He was looking at, ultimately, what was going to happen to humanity if he did not come, if he did not rise, if he did not die. This, I believe, brothers, is what we're called to be, not the providers of our families or our own livelihoods, but the protectors of each other, the protectors of others, of their souls, their lives. Yes, we're hardwired, physically made for protection, more so than our women counterparts. We're made to step in the gap, as Adam was supposed to step in the gap, but failed to do so out of fear. Brothers, I think so many of us today, fear is what rules us. Fear is what dictates to us whether we stand in the gap or not. And frankly, many of us men, we're not stepping up. We're afraid. We're afraid of being judged. We're afraid of being hurt. We're afraid of being rejected. And so therefore, we tend to do what, that stoic man does so often. We remain silent. If you remember, we do the very same thing that Adam did at the original sin, right? When the serpent was speaking to Eve. And then Eve reaches up, sees that the fruit is good, and she takes it and takes a bite. Does she now call Adam to come to her and have a piece of the fruit? No, she simply takes a bite and then turns to Adam and says, "Here, take a bite." You see, Adam was standing right next to her. He failed to step in the gap and protect. He failed to protect Eve. And therefore, because of that failure, Adam, who was given responsibility to tend the garden, to tend and protect, he was held accountable for the original sin, not Eve. So brothers, I ask you this day, are we in a position where we're really living our lives in authenticity of the true image of man in our masculinity? Or are we remaining silent? Are we remaining just that character that's played on television, the buffoon, upon which every joke on television is all about men? No, we're called to rise up in that strength. I think the culture would be really afraid of that. Why? Because if we were really living the strength of our identity as a man created in the image of God, we would step up against the wrongs that are taking place in our culture. We would step up to the evil that's in our world that seeks to simply destroy people. We would step up and call, not in a cruelty, but call out sin because we love, because we desire the best for others. And we'll receive the truth of what Christ promised us. If we really do that, he promised us that because of his name and because of his teaching, we would be persecuted, we would be judged, we would be condemned. But better to be condemned by the world than the Lord who has eternity in his hand.